to start a foot plant with a circle around our hands. Now we're going to treat this as like a pivot point, like a door. I want my bat to rotate around this pivot point instead of my hands attacking the ball. And we're going to see here on the right, Simmons is attacking the ball, while on the left, Story is keeping his hands within that pivot point and is allowing his barrel to attack that ball. We would like to use the pivot point so that way we can receive the ball deeper and then also not feel the need to go attacking it. Rather than knowing that it's coming at us, we can attack it from within. We don't have to go outside of our body. We don't have to go and try and do that. While we're watching here, Story on the left, just keep his hands within that circle. Now we're going to look to go here. Watch the knees. Simmons on the right, we're going to see his knee kind of go around and down like his hands are, while Story's is actually just going to work towards third base. Our goal here is to not go towards the ball necessarily with our body and our hands, but allow the barrel to go towards the baseball. And to do that, we have to have a pivot point. And here we're seeing Trevor work out towards third base while Simmons is working down towards the ball. That is one major difference between these two swings. Moving on through here, we're going to see Story is rotating around his spine while Simmons is still here working down towards the ball. And we're seeing it in his knee, with Simmons' knee, and also his hands. Here we're moving on. We're going to be looking at the bat angle at foot plant. We're going to look at the bat angle at contact and the bat angle at follow through. We're going to compare the body angle. Red is going to be the color used for foot plant. Yellow is going to be the color used for contact. Green is going to be the color used for after the swing. We're just going to follow and try and track the differences and then also the similarities. These are both MLB hitters and have been in the MLB for a while, or in Story's case, will be in the MLB for a while. Here we're looking. Story's actually very similar. Not much has moved, not much has changed. While on the right, Simmons, we're seeing a lot of differences, a lot of changes here. Okay? And we're going to try and figure out what those differences are, what's causing those differences, if the differences is good, and if they are bad. Okay? So here, now we're getting into our follow through, and I'll let you guys know why this is so important to know the follow through as well, not just to contact. Alright, so here we're going to see, like I said, red is at foot plant, yellow is at contact, green is at follow through. Okay, as we're seeing here, green is the closest, which is follow through. Follow through body position is closest to home plate, while the at contact is actually closest towards third base for both of these gentlemen. Okay. Why? So yellow, we're actually what I call weightless with our back half. There's going to be a snap with the hips going from facing, first base dugout to facing the pitcher, and they're going to leave their back knee very similar to the same spot, and because of this angle, it's difficult to see. Their hips are rotating while their back knee is staying in the same spot, which is creating tension with the back half. Once that tension gets to a greater point, the back foot is going to have to release. It's going to have to come up out of the ground to where it becomes weightless, so that way it can turn and allow the hips to keep rotating to finish facing at the pitcher. When this happens, that is why at contact we are seeing that the body is furthest out towards third base, is because that's at the point where the most amount of weight transfer is happening. Once the back foot has become weightless and has turned, it will start to gain the pressure and weight distribution of the body again, and that is why we are seeing the green is going to be closest to home plate, because the body is completely finished turning, and both our weight distribution has fallen back to 50-50 or close to it, and that is why those angles are there. Now, I personally believe why Simmons is struggling, or not necessarily struggling, why Simmons is hitting so many ground balls is because of his bat and how it changes, and we're going to see this here in a little bit. We're going to follow track the angles of the bat throughout the swing as well. But as we can kind of see, Stories is very much on plane almost. From the catcher all the way to his follow through are almost on the exact same plane, while and don't have much space difference. While Simmons on the right has a lot of space, and his initial uh, foot plant red marking is very high, very vertical, and we're going to see that here in a little bit compared to Stories. But I think this is very cool just to kind of see the difference in body positions at different points in the swing, comparing them to the same. Here we're going to start to look at the bat angles, comparing them. So here at foot plant, Simmons is going to be at 140 degree bat angle. Trevor's Story is going to be a little bit less than that. We're going to go here. So we're going from 140 to 131. So that's a 9-degree difference. While Story is going to have a 6-degree difference. It's 120, so we have a 9-degree difference versus a 6-degree difference. And then if we were to flip this over, it'd be 130 degrees for Simmons, and then we were looking at 123 degrees for Story. One difference I would like to point out between Simmons and Story. Story's bat angle goes from 126 at foot plant, 120 at contact, 123 for the follow through, and that's a difference of -6 plus 3. So 126 to 120 is -6, and then 120 to 123 is +3. Simmons goes 140, 131, 130. So Simmons actually goes -9, -1. So looking at the difference between that, Story's increase medium 126, decreases 120, and then goes back to increasing, while Simmons is not the case. Not the case. He goes 140, 131, 130. Just to point out, I'd like to look at the ankle. Just a little cool side note. I used to see Jim Tomei do this all the time. I used to ask my dad what made this, what caused this. And this was back when Jim Tomei was, what was that, White Sox. I think he played for the Indians even for a little bit. So that was back in the day cafe. And now, I don't know, this is just me. I think it's super cool if I'm figuring out what's making this ankle do that. And that's the increased weight distribution without actually having to rise up out of their stance. So letting the front hip keep growing towards third base instead of their body increasing towards the sky. That's where the weight distribution is going. That's how they're able to not stand up through their swing, is when the weight distribution is coming from the backside to the front side, the left front hip will keep increasing its towards third to allow the hips to come all the way through and turn the entire body. We're going to draw a line on the side of their butts and see who increases and who stays the same. We're actually going to see Story is going to increase from stride to contact. He's actually going to increase. He's going to grow towards third base, while Simmons is not. That's because Simmons' back leg is going down into the ball along with his hands instead of allowing them to grow and go towards third base and allow the barrel to the ball. So that's the breakdown between Simmons and Trevor Story. Hope you guys enjoyed.